Hello, everyone out there in virtual world. We are excited for our film screening and panel discussion tonight. I will give y'all a few minutes to get on. As y'all get on, please drop something in the chat so we know that you are there. And we're super excited to have this conversation about Black maternal health and what we are experiencing in the birthing process. I am Ashley Spivey. I am the founder and director of IB Black Girl. And again, I'm super excited to be in conversation and fellowship with you all tonight. For those who don't know and just see this, coming across your page or if someone is sharing our live video, IB Black Girl is a collective that creates space for Black women, femmes, and girls to access and reach our full potential. We are a reproductive justice organization. So that means we are making sure that all of the systems surrounding folks with reproductive systems, specifically Black women and birthing folks, have what they need to make the decisions about their experiences in life, not just the birthing process. And so tonight we are on the heels of Black Maternal Health Month in Nebraska, which was all October. But we don't just want to have those kinds of conversations in a month, right? Like these are ongoing conversations that we have to continue to engage in so we can change the outcomes for Black women and birthing folks, specifically in Nebraska. And so with that, I am excited to bring on our event sponsors before we jump into the film to give you insight around their work and their commitment to Black birthing folks. So first up, I have my favorite friend, Ann Smolsky from Charles Drew Health Center, who will give us a little tease around Charles Drew and what they do, and especially their work around Black birthing people.
Thanks, Ashley. I'm so excited to be here and just continue this conversation with you. We enjoy the partnership with IB Black Girl. Charles Drew, for those who don't know, is a federally qualified health center, provides access to quality healthcare in North and Northeast Omaha. We've been operating 12 sites across Douglas County, offering medical, including obstetrics and gynecology, dental, behavioral health care, pharmacy to all patients, regardless of their ability to pay. And for nearly 4 decades, Charles Drew has worked to improve systems of patient-centered and integrated care that responds to the unique needs of our patients. In one program in particular, we have Omaha Healthy Start, provides culturally responsive education and support throughout pregnancy, birth, and postpartum stages. And then we also have Women, Infant, and Children WIC site included at our Grant Street location so that we can really do all those wraparound supports that are so necessary for maternal child health from preconception all the way through that beginning life cycle. And then we'll continue on with you. So we're excited to be here. Thank you so much for partnering with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anne, for your commitment to this work. And we're excited again to be in the space working alongside Charles Drew. So next up, I have my good friend, Anthony Ashby, who is at CHI doing tons of work for people of color and healthcare, but is representing a different organization tonight that is intentionally supporting Black folks in the medical field. So Anthony, I will let you give the folks a spiel about your organization and the work that y'all are doing.
So I'm Anthony Ashby. I'm actually Vice President of Operations at CHI Health, Emmanuel, and Mercy in Council Bluffs. I'm also founding president of NACI Heartland. NACI stands for National Association of Health Service Executives. It's actually a professional development group that was, it's based in Washington, D.C. It was actually founded in 1968 to promote the advancement and development of Black healthcare leaders and elevate the quality of healthcare for minorities and underserved communities. So NACI Heartland is actually a local chapter of the national organization that we founded in Omaha earlier this year, actually in 2021. And it not only seeks to engage anyone that's passionate about the advancement of Black healthcare leaders within Nebraska, but also to do the same across Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, and the Dakotas, as well as across the nation in order to advance health equity and social justice through exposure, engagement, and empowerment of Black healthcare professionals. Provide programming, workshops, networking, mentorship, scholarships, fellowships, community service, health policy, advocacy, things like this, as well as expanding business contracting opportunities for Blacks in the healthcare field. So we're glad to be able to partner with IB Black Girl and Charles Drew in this event to help promote awareness and work towards a solution for the Black maternal health challenges that we face in our community. I'll just say make sure to check us out on LinkedIn, as well as our website. NAHSE is NAHSE, heartland.org. We have a mentorship program coming soon and a lot more in 2022. So definitely check us out. And we thank you for joining the event and look forward to the video and the discussion. So thanks, Ashley.
Thank you, Anthony. And I just got to plug, that you won Young, Black, and Influential Omaha as well. So when you rattling off them titles and all the work that you're doing, I just have to say that we saw that coming and all the great work on behalf of Black folks in Nebraska. So thank you. So with that, we are going to get into this short film. The film is called Toxic. It is an independent film. It has been having a ton of buzz nationally because it is really highlighting some of the experiences that we face as Black birthing people and as Black women. I will give a trigger warning that some of the interactions and some of the experiences that are shown on the film can cause harm and can trigger past experiences if you have had similar. So please take care of yourself during the film. It's about 22 minutes. Once we wrap and finish showing that, then we will go into a panel discussion with some Black mamas and medical professionals around the film and just kind of unpack what we saw. So again, I wanted to make sure that I shared that trigger warning so folks can be prepared. I am going to bring up the screen and we are going to go ahead and watch.
Baby, can you go wake Michael up for me, please? I gotta get ready. Please, come on. Love you, thank you. So you want to get a couple shades lighter than your own. You want to take your dab lunch. You want to just like
Morning to you. The news this morning, a planning application which will affect the future of Sellafield nuclear plant. ENFL want more storage facilities for intermediate radioactive waste. The company says if they do not get the go-ahead, they will have to start reprocessing by 1990.
You doing your homework?
Doing your work?
I'm almost done.
So am I.
Okay. Don't let your mom see you. She's gonna say something to you.
good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hey. Get you some breakfast.
Wait, that better not be your homework.
I'm almost done.
What do you mean? What were you doing last night?
I was working on it.
Girl, done?
Now on to our top story. A 12-year-old boy was shot and killed by a city police officer Saturday morning. According to the officer's statement, the boy was wielding a BB gun that the officer perceived to be a firearm. When asked to
Oh,
comply,
gosh, come on, you guys, not today.
Damn. Okay.
Don't.
Yes, I will.
I don't know about this hair. Like, what do you think?
You gotta let that skin glow and that hair grow.
Oh my gosh.
Wait a minute, is that the skirt that you had on that one that you had on
I
the
know you're
night
not
that...
gonna talk like that in front of your son.
Anyway, did you take your vitamin?
No, not yet.
Tried to sleep last night.
Okay, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little pain, but nothing too bad.
Should we call Dr. Gupta?
Why? So she can just dismiss whatever I have to tell her like she did last week?
You went to see her last week?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
It was nothing. I just had a little pain. That's all.
You still gotta tell me that kind of stuff, though.
It was nothing.
Nina, how have you been doing?
To be honest, not too good. I mean, I've been having a lot of pain and cramping in my lower abdomen.
Yeah?
Enough that I thought I should come in and see you.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like round ligament stretching. Pretty common.
I just don't remember having this kind of pain with my first baby.
Nina, I know this is not your first pregnancy, but I'm sorry to tell you, not all pregnancies are the same. It's not always comfortable, and plenty of women overreact to these things.
Overreact? I don't think I'm overreacting.
Everything is fine. Just go home and treat yourself to a relaxing evening. I'm sure you'll be feeling better soon.
Wait, but is there anything that you... Oh my God.
Go to the doctor?
Thank you. No, I mean, besides, I don't know. I mean, I have the depositions today and that big trial. I don't have time for a doctor today.
So then we need to talk later.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I got a late meeting today, so can you pick up Michael from school? I can just grab some dinner on the way home.
Okay. It's not like I just literally didn't tell you how swamped I am today.
I got it.
No, it's fine. I can do it. Just tell me what time you'll be home. I know you know better than that.
Sorry. Just for that, you can say grace. Come on. Let me tell you twice.
Thank you, God, for this food, for rest and home, for everything that is good, in the wind and sun above, but most of all, those we love. Amen.
Amen.
Let's eat. Start.
When we get home later, I want you to put your wrestling clothes in the washer. What time are you getting out of practice? Michael, are you listening? Michael, I'm talking to you.
I heard you.
But what time do you get out of practice?
4, but we're going to the skate park after.
And who's we?
Me, Jamie, and some other kids.
Are any parents going to be there?
Parents? Why do we need parents? We're just going to the skate park.
Another day of protests downtown today after the shooting of a 12-year-old African-American boy who police say was wielding a BB gun.
Sorry, not today.
Why?
Just not today, okay?
Oh my God, it's so unfair.
You're right. It is unfair, but I'd rather you not have to find out the hard way when you and your friends are picked up and you're the only one going to jail.
I'm just scared because of the news. We're not going to get shot or anything.
Enough, Michael.
Still talking digits, take a house and flip it. And if we talking squares, I'ma need 20. Coming down I-20, no ludicrous. Took them 20 blocks and turned it into 60. Talking hush money, don't come slow, it come fast. When you running through blocks, you run through pounds, smoking gas. So hush, money keep coming stacked up like a bus. Yeah, I'm really getting money, me and bread got a crush.
I love you. Oh, our mango. Mango.
Good to see you here today.
Hi, how are you?
Got a minute to talk?
Actually, I'm in a bit of a rush. Is everything okay?
Yeah, well, there's just a problem with Michael's wrestling team.
Oh,
Yeah, it seems he's going to have to do something about his hair if he wants to stay in the program.
his hair.
Yes, well, I guess there's a league rule that says boys can't have dreadlocks. It interferes with the matches.
He's wrestled in dozens of matches. It's never been a problem before.
Well, I believe it to be a new rule. Well, some of the other parents have been complaining about the lack of enforcement of the rule.
So does this mean all your boys with locks are having to cut them?
No, just Michael.
Oh, just okay. Well, I'm gonna get going, but I will definitely talk to him and his father tonight and get back with you as to what we decide to do with our son's hair. Okay?
Of course, and I hope this doesn't seem like it's anything other than policy.
No, why would it?
Right.
Have a good day.
You as well.
Has his locks forever. Talk to me about his hair being a problem on the team. It's just totally wait till I tell them. So does this mean all your boys with locks are having to cut them?
No, just Michael. Just Michael. Hey, some of the other parents have been complaining, lack of enforcement of the rule. I hope this doesn't seem like anything other than policy. Policy.
Morning. Good morning, Nina.
Oh, hi. Good morning. How's it going?
Well, I know Carl called us here for this meeting, but I think I'm missing a couple of things on this dance case.
I'll give you everything I
All
have.
right. Let's see what we got here. So, have you seen the new intern? I was 20 years younger.
And what would your husband say about that?
Oh, I don't think he'd mind if I was 20 years younger.
Ooh.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I think my little mango didn't like what I ate for lunch.
I love mango. Did you have it in your salad?
No, not. Never mind.
At least you're over the morning sickness part.
True.
I remember with my first two, I was sick all the time. The third one, I didn't feel a thing. Though she's the one who gives me the most trouble of the three, there's some irony in there.
Did we get any word back on the Blair case?
Nope. Still waiting to hear back from the judge. Oh, did you hear about the Williams case?
Hear what?
Well, Leo managed to get a sentence reduced down to community service plus probation.
Are you kidding me? 18-year-old frat boy rapes a passed out girl and gets probation? Because he is a promising college kid who made a mistake and his life shouldn't be ruined. Meanwhile, my pro bono client, who's only 16, by the way, finds himself at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong crowd with no idea that he's sitting in a getaway car. Now he's being tried as an adult for armed robbery and had nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah, but he's from Kinsman. Nothing good ever comes from Kinsman.
I'm from Kinsman.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you are.
Anyway, there's probably more to it than that. He might have gotten in a fight with the police or had drugs on him or something. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I went to that soul cycle class yesterday, and guess who the teacher was? It was that woman with the crazy green and pink hair. And she was telling us a story about her cat. How her cat has learned how to ring the doorbell in order to get that in. It's such the craziest thing, isn't it? I mean, that's funny, right? Nina? Funny, right? Nina?
How was school? Mm-hmm. Who was that?
Who?
With the long hair.
Riley?
Does he wrestle?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Hmm. He's got the nerve to talk to me about some hair today.
I'm hungry.
I can't control the traffic, Michael.
Can we stop and get something?
Your father's picking up dinner. Can't you wait?
Is that for you?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Was you speeding?
No. I'm doing like 30. Like, this is crazy. There's no shoulder. I guess I'll get off right here. Great.
I thought we was gonna get a DWB.
What's that?
Driving while black.
Right. It's crazy.
Want me to look for directions back on the highway?
No, I know these streets.
I mean, we were just sitting back, you know, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. You know, tracking my roots, where I came from and where I'm going. But like I say, man, always said it.
This place is shady as...
Boy, you better not finish that sentence.
Sorry. Oh, can we stop and get something?
Here?
Please, help me quick, I swear. Please. Before we pass it, please.
All right, but be quick.
Quick.
I mean, real quick.
You put a baby on top of that baby.
Do you guys have any fruits or granola bars?
No fruits.
I understand about the fruits, but do you have any granola bars or power bars or something like that?
No granola.
Still keeping this place stocked with healthy options for the community, I see.
Sir, do you have any quinoa by chance?
Don't. No, he doesn't.
Swipe your snap card.
What? What's that?
Do you have a snap card?
No, I don't.
You ask everyone.
So that's not his name?
No, it is, but not when he raps.
But what is it when he raps?
Childish Gambino?
Let me get my candy. Childish Gambino. Childish? How old is he? And what is a Gambino? I mean, what does it mean?
I don't think it means anything. He came up with it on some Wu-Tang name generator. Wu-Tang, it's a group from the 90s.
I know you're not trying to teach me about Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
As we dwell in this concrete hell, call it at home. Mama say, take your time, young man, and build your own. Don't wind up like your old dad, still searching for the glory days he never had. What are you trying to teach me about Wu-Tang?
I thought you only listen to jazz.
Listen, honey, I've been shadowboxing since before you were born. Okay?
That's pretty cool. I didn't think you had it like
that.
Mom,
Oh!
you okay?
Oh! Call your dad, man. Call your dad. Oh, call your dad.
Hello? Dad, Mom's in pain.
Here we go. I need you to give me a good deep breath and let's go. Yes, come on, Nina. That's good. That's good, Nina. That's good. You got this. Okay, I can see the baby. It's coming up. Very good, Nina. That's great job. Great job. Great job, Nina. baby to the NICU doctor so that we can take care of him and I can take care of you, okay? Is the baby okay? Nina, he's gonna be okay.
Baby's weight, 400 grams.
How's our chest rise?
I've only got it on one side.
Let's adjust the breathing tube.
The heart rate is dropping.
Let's start chest compression. Let's start chest compression.
Several different delays as to when the shutdown will officially begin, and a developing story over protests in regards to the police department's official statement that the police officer who shot the 12-year-old
Can we not right now?
looks to be a few slowdowns.
Just turn it off.
Make sure you stay tuned for the later.
Yeah.
All right, so we are coming back. Thank you all for watching the film with us. I know it was heavy and a lot to experience, but we're going to unpack it now. So I am excited to bring a few folks on who I've had the pleasure to meet and work with through our work with Black Maternal Health and I Be Black Girl and just in the community. So I want to start out with Jacinta Hamilton. If you could please introduce yourself, your role in which you work in Black Maternal Health, and just a little bit about you so our viewers can know who is on this panel.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I am Jacinta Hamilton. I am a clinic manager at Charles Drew Health Center, which is a community health center here in Omaha, Nebraska. I am also a labor and delivery nurse by trade. So I started out my nursing career in labor and delivery and have continued that for the years that I have been a nurse. So I have a varied experience in working with birthing mamas. I started my career in Maryland, so as you can imagine, the population there is very different than it is here in Omaha and in Iowa, which is where I currently work. So I've had a lot of experience with, different types of communities, and I've seen a lot. And in seeing those things, it has inspired me and encouraged me to be able to reach out to family and friends who may be in their birthing process, or in the midst of trying to get pregnant or what have you, and help them, just to advocate for them and tell them, different tips that they can use as they're going through their process. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about the film and some of the things that we can do to better the outcomes for Black women.
Well, thank you, Jacinta, for joining us. And again, we're excited to have your expertise. So next, I want to introduce Laylinda Briggs, who I know personally. We work together. So if you would come off of mute and just describe the role in which you are bringing and the perspective in which you're bringing to the panel today, and just a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, Ashley. Love you. Muchos besos. And I am a mental health consultant. My primary focus is with juvenile delinquency and more recently with early childhood preventative mental health. So I am an employee of Child Saving Institute at their Kids Squad program. That's what we call it, Kids Squad program. And my contract site is Educare of Omaha and Indian Hills. So I primarily work inside South Omaha. I am the proud mother of a very rambunctious 2-year-old, which might pop in here every once in a while because he's very busy in the background. And I messaged Ashley earlier and I said, it's a good thing I watched this film earlier because all the films, all the feels, all the relation, like it's something that really needs to be dug into, and I'm glad to be a part of this group.
Yeah, well, thank you both for joining the panel. And just so you know, my 7-year-old, I was like, as I was streaming it, I said, Nas, you have to be very quiet because I'm off of mute, because he will come in here and ask me all the things and does not care about who is on the screen, right? So working moms in virtual life, like that's just what it is. But I really want to kind of just start out and ground us in like, what were your initial reactions to this film? Like, to your point, Laylinda, it was so many feelings, so many experiences. And I found myself trying to process and kind of unpack. And so I invite you both to share kind of what were your initial reactions as you watched it. And Laylinda, if you want to go first, and then Jacinta, that would be great.
Sure. I will say that for me, my personal experience, thankfully, my Ashley knows this. I don't mince my words. I will say it how it is and how I want it to be. And I will get straight to the point, especially when it comes to my medical and mental health care. And that as a mental health practitioner, sorry, hold on. Give me just a second. Try and mute the TV because I'm pretty sure you can hear it in the background. But it's with my son Titan, that is almost 3. My blood pressure started to get really, really high. And I've never had issues with blood pressure, ever. And my doctor was very conscious, and so were the nurses, and said, hey, can you relax? Is there some stress you can take off? And I just kept working. I literally was working the day I gave birth. Like, that's how much it was. And to stay in the hospital for a whole extra week because my blood pressure was in the 2 up to the 300s, where I was off and on a magnesium drip, and then trying to nurse at the same time, to do all of that and to try and process everything and to try to, still take care of yourself. You're like, you still need to shower, you need to go to the bathroom, you need to nurse, make sure the baby's okay, and then you have nurses coming in and out every hour, but to check your blood pressure, to check this, to check your vitals, but then telling you to get some rest. And that was the difficult part. And that's the part I related to the most, was because it was that close for me. That was my personal experience, was that my blood pressure was that high where my now husband almost had to make that decision of, is it her or him? And to have to experience that and not knowing, like my side is at least my practitioners were on my side, but also to have the stresses of everything that else is going on in society. Right after I had Titan, so I'm on maternity leave, then there's George Floyd, there's Ahmaud Arbery, there's all these things that's going on, and I'm looking at my little black son going, I don't want you to leave this house. I don't want you to leave my arms. That's the tough part, is that we do have to let them in the world. They do have to experience life. But how do we reconcile that as mothers, especially as Black mothers, knowing what our Black sons are going to go through? And I'll be definitely transparent and say that my son is biracial. So there's two sides of the coins that he needs to know. And then reconciling that with him and with both sides of the family, like that definitely is a constant struggle day in and day out.
Laylinda, you said a whole bunch of words. We're going to unpack what you said because there was a lot in there. And thank you for your transparency and vulnerability. I feel like when I watched the film, I was like, man, this film is really toxic. And I'm like, but when I think about our experiences, like we need to name these things. Like it's all not all unicorns and rainbows. Like we need to name those things. And so I appreciate you doing that. Jacinta, what were your initial reactions and thoughts as you watched the film?
Well, as you said, Laylinda, I had so many emotions because I've been on, the professional side of this with so many moms. And let me just say this. So there were so many things just racially that were, I won't say triggering for me, but just so sensitive that I don't even know that we have time for that. Like we would have to have a 5-hour, a 5-hour talk just to even go through all of those things. So I will stick to the birthing side of things. One of the things that I noticed, and if you that are watching, don't leave with anything else, leave this screening with anything else. I have 3 words for you: believe Black women. And I say that because so often, we are, and I've experienced this firsthand, we are not believed when we say we have pain. We're not believed when we say we're going through experiences. And, our experiences are just met with skepticism on so many different levels. And in my opinion, this is not the place for that. And I think that, I've had the privilege of working with some incredible providers who hear their patients, who listen to every single complaint that they have and act on that. The one thing I will say about the lady in the film is that she talked to her doctor, and her doctor basically gave her professional opinion and walked out. And that was the end of the conversation. And every patient has the right to participate in their own healthcare, to be an active part of that, and to advocate for themselves if no one else will. And so at that point that she said, is there nothing else that you can do, or something to that effect, the doctor should have said, I will do whatever you want me to do. Because realistically, what is it going to hurt if you run 5 tests that are really not necessary? If it's not going to hurt her baby or in any way affect her pregnancy, if it will give her peace of mind, what is the harm? And so I feel like that was one of the main things that I've noticed first. The other thing was at the very end. I have sat with countless families who have experienced perinatal loss, who have experienced infant death, and no one was in the room with her when she found out that her baby had passed away. Whoever the professional was that came in told her about the baby and left the room immediately, and left her and her husband to grieve, which is appropriate at some point. But as a professional, I would never leave a family without ensuring that they don't need anything else from me. And I didn't see that exchange, which, was a little upsetting to me, because I believe, that's the end of the conversation. So if we're not going to do anything else, the very least we could do is if babies are going to die, then let's comfort the people who have lost their child. That is an extremely traumatic experience for a family. That's the very least that you could do as a healthcare professional. But when you back it up, like I said, There are so many steps in this process where, pain occurs, and it's kind of like, oh, like the doctor said, that's just round ligament pain. It'll go away. Well, it didn't go away. And so now what do I do? And so, like I said, I've had family members who have experienced the same types of things, pain in the middle. I mean, I've taken phone calls from friends at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't care. Guess why? Because they couldn't call their doctor and get an answer on the line. So I'm willing to be there because I want to see a healthy Black baby come out of that Black mama. And so I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And so I think that for me has got to become the attitude of a lot more of our healthcare professionals, is being able to provide comfort throughout the pregnancy process, and not so much. I understand that there are needs that can't be met. There are some things that are unreasonable, but if that's the case, educate the patient as to why that's not necessary. That doesn't take anything. It doesn't take 5 minutes for you to say, well, really, we don't need this test because X, Y, Z. But like I said, even if it is a test that, could be run, what is it going to hurt if it's going to put the mom at ease? So I just felt so many emotions around her pregnancy because I felt like, it's like you could see it coming from a mile away, and I think that was probably a little bit of the intent in the film. But I just felt like throughout the film it was so unnecessary. It didn't have to end the way that it did, and so I think I just have a lot of emotions. Like the whole time I was watching it, I'm thinking, of course, what would I have done as a nurse, And so I think I would have done a lot of things different, and not just because she's Black, just as for a mom in general. But I think this has happened. I can say that I have seen this happen to Black mothers more often than I would like to admit. So those were my thoughts for now.
Thank you, Jacinta. And I know like y'all got a lot of screens up, but I'm watching the chat too. Folks are dialoguing and commenting in the chat. So if you have questions for the panelists, please drop them in there. Folks are sharing their experience as well. So thank you all for, engaging with us and being vulnerable as well. So one of the things, as I was thinking about watching this, is like the systems around her. So I kind of want to start there because both of y'all named that. And there's a concept called weathering, right? So like what happens to Black women, literally biologically to our body due to institutional racism. And I thought the producers of the film did a great job of naming things that were very timely, right? So you're hearing things on the radio, same about your experience, right? Linda, like George Floyd is just murdered, like a series of murders by police institutions. So you're having that and absorbing that. She's having to deal with her child in school. And we all know the issues in our current education system with the school to prison pipeline, or our children being over disciplined, lack of quality of schools, right? Then she's still taking care of her home. So her husband, her partner is asking her to do things. She wants to show up there. And then she's having to deal with stuff in the workplace, which I feel like as one of the first and only Black women in a lot of spaces that I've worked in, like that happens, like you get the touching of the hair and the microaggressions and you're like, not today, girl. Like, I'm not, no. And so how do you start to navigate all of these things around us that we don't necessarily control, right? Like she was trying to control her pregnancy, control her experiences, like telling people, turn that off. I can't, but it was like she was searching for that power and choice. And I'm just interested in your personal experience or professional. How have you helped navigate yourself or others through managing, institutional racism within our community and environment around you? Lalinda, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. It was definitely tough. In reflection, it was a lot tougher than I thought it was, because as Black women, we are raised to be, have the thickest skin and endure and do all these great things. But looking back, I realized that I did need to do more self-care while I was carrying my child. Even something as small as slipping and falling on ice, working 10-hour days, taking care of the household, planning events, and doing all these other things, family parties, family events. And then you look at yourself and you go, what's left? and there's literally nothing, but you're in the middle of trying to finish creating a life. And I realized that that stress is probably what led to that high blood pressure, which led to anxiety, which has led to depression. What I'm supposed to be, that's supposed to be your most joyous moment, is creating a life and becoming a mother. And there I was going, all right, I just did a thing. It's cool. And I will say that as far as the systemic things, working in a predominantly Black and Brown community, is that is something that I really try to educate the parents I work with on. Since I work in early childhood, that 0 to 5, is letting them know that, hey, this is the most critical point. Prevention is everything. Educate yourself, know yourself on these things. If you need help, I will help you. If I don't know how to help you, I will find somebody to help you, so that your child will have a better or somewhat easier life than what you thought it would be or what they thought it would be. Because we know that in these systems, they look at us as statistics. They look at us as Ashley said, that school to prison pipeline. And so when I'm working with my predominantly Hispanic and Latinx population, is letting them know, hey, the reason why we need to get your child an IEP right now is not because we're saying they are not educated or they're not smart. We're saying they need certain accommodations to help them learn better, so that they don't get labeled as that child, especially being a Black and Brown child. And letting them know more about the American education system, and hopefully dismantling it as we go forward in the future.
Thank you, Lelinda. That's great. So thinking about right, so we saw the environmental of what she was experiencing, and then Jacinta raised like her actual interactions with the doctor. And a while back, we had Dr. Deidre Cooper Owens do a keynote for us. So she is currently a professor at UNL. She's my soror, so I just have to plug that. And she has a book called Medical Bondage, and she is brilliant. So if you have not read it and you are out there doing this work, buy that book. You can also see her keynote and her talk on our YouTube page for IB Black Girl. But her book really, for me, reinforced and helped me understand how this system of working with people with reproductive systems, so gynecology as a field and a practice, was born out of the torture and treatment and abuse of Black enslaved bodies, right? And so folks that we deem, the father of gynecology, and tools that are named after them, literally experimented on Black bodies, Black women that were enslaved. And what was that process for them? Understanding power and choice and how they navigated a space where all that was stripped from them. And we still see some of the implications of that to this day, right? Like enslavement was not that long ago. We're a very young country. And so, Jacinta, I'm interested in your approach to thinking about what does it mean to have power and choice in your medical journey. You talked about in your initial reactions, right? Things that you would be different and how you're pushing practitioners. You also are a Black woman, right? Right. So that hits a little bit different. So what does it mean if folks have providers or they're in spaces as an institution, as a medical institution, trying to find power and choice? Like, how can they navigate that? What does that look like? What have you seen?
Well, I will say, it's difficult, because if you think about it, most people in a setting like a medical setting are reluctant to disagree with their provider, or speak up if they are concerned about something. I believe those things have kind of been ingrained in us, like you talked about. Us being enslaved and not having control of our own bodies wasn't so long ago, and so I think that a little bit of that kind of still trickled down to us, and we're not as outspoken when it comes to our choices and advocating for ourselves. And so I think that, I have seen in spaces where a mom didn't understand her choices. And so I felt it was my my duty as her nurse to explain all of the options. A doctor may come into the room and say, so things aren't going as well as we hoped. We're probably going to have to do a C-section. And me explaining, like, do you understand what's happening right now? Is this what you want? Do you like and exploring all of the options, even going back out of the room and talking to the provider to say, are you sure? Can you just give me 30 more minutes to reposition and see if we can maybe get something going? Just having to advocate in that way for my patients, because maybe they don't have the knowledge. They haven't been educated throughout their pregnancy. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of these conversations happen way too late. I feel like, in our communities, we should be teaching young women at the age of, 17, 18, what are your choices? And even earlier than that. I mean, they're having sex earlier than that. So why not start the conversation when we're doing sex ed? But just what are some of the choices when you're birthing? What does that look like? What is an induction? Because a lot of times people are instantly forced into an induction and they're kind of like, why do I have to have my baby early? What is the point? And they don't even understand it. So just explaining a little bit more of what those things look like on a bigger scale to our young women so that they have the option to make those choices as they become mothers or are deciding to become mothers, or even just in reproductive choices in general. I feel like a lot, you've probably noticed in our society, a lot of Black women are getting married a lot later or deciding to have babies in their 30s and 40s as opposed to their 20s. What would that have looked like if we were deciding those things in our 30s and 40s, but we knew that we had the option to freeze our eggs in our 20s? But we didn't know. Nobody has ever said that to us. And so, like you mentioned, Lelinda, you had so many stressors that caused your blood pressure to be raised. What about talking to young women at a young age to say, these things affect your life, and not just your life, but possibly your child's life. So monitor your blood pressure now, not just when you're 45 years old. People talk about having hypertension and diabetes later in life, but that's something, there are 20-year-olds who have, hypertension. Look at those things now, because the stressors in your life do cause that. And it's at an increased rate in African American women. And so we want to make sure that we are doing what we can in our communities to produce healthy people that can then become healthy mothers. And I don't think those conversations are had often enough. And I feel like they shouldn't have to come. Like I said, I feel obligated to advocate for my friends, to educate them, but I don't feel like those conversations should start with me. They should start with a medical provider, or we should have people in our communities that are invested in the birthing process more than just making the money off of a birth or a C-section. So I think those conversations, like I said, should happen sooner, and from the top down. So,
Y'all, why do we only have 5 minutes left? I was looking at the time. I'm like, man, I have so many questions to ask you, so many things to unpack, because this, like, y'all are speaking some words and putting truth to power. And this is the conversation that we need to have. I feel like we are not giving this kind of space to really unpack our own experiences, what we want to be different, and how do we transform the system so other birthing folks are not having the same negative experiences that we have encountered. So before I wrap us up, because now we have 4 minutes, I want you to think about, like, what is one thing that a birthing person or a medical practitioner can do in order to make sure Black women and birthing folks thrive in their birthing process? Like, if they didn't get nothing from the film, if they didn't get nothing from the knowledge that y'all was dropping, which if that's the case, then we got some other problems that we need to address. But say that's just what it is. What do you want to say to those folks right now in order to advance and create an environment where we do not die or almost die when we give birth?
I'll start. Like I said, I'll repeat what I said before. As far as medical professionals, believe Black women become more invested in their process than the end. I feel like they need education throughout and even before getting pregnant. And so let's make a commitment to providing that in our communities. And then for birthing people, advocate for yourself. Whatever your process, whatever you want your process to be, plan that out. Talk with someone, find the resources to make that happen. Don't stick to it just because of the fact that anything can happen. Don't be so narrow-minded that you're like, if this doesn't happen, I don't want it to happen, because I in my experience, that's a key for something going wrong. But just have an idea of what you want, and don't be afraid to voice those things to the people that are taking care of you.
Thank you, Jacinta. Laylinda?
I would absolutely have to agree. I will say, as a non-medical professional, but a mental health professional, that again, you do always have to advocate for yourself. And there's this scary part that when you're not in the medical field, of leaving your medical professional. Because if they're not listening to you, then go, then leave. Look at your packages, look at your insurance, look at your options, because if they are not listening to you, you know what your body feels like. You know when something's mentally and physically and emotionally wrong. And if they're not willing to listen to you and help advocate for you, then find someone who will. And I will also say, look into other mostly non-traditional types of medicine. Look for a doula. Look for these other things, these other types of therapies that can help you through this journey. That is a beautiful journey. It really is. It's an amazing journey. The changes that your body is going through, and the things that you see happening and the things you learn, I will say definitely do that. And always, as Jacinta has actually said, continue to advocate for yourselves always.
Well, thank you both for your expertise and your experiences. I mean, this is not enough time. So I feel like we're going to have a part 2, and we will have y'all back so we can really talk about this. So I dropped a link in the chat for the folks that are watching, and it has what IB Black Girl is doing in our approach. And so we are a reproductive justice organization. So as I mentioned at the beginning of, before the film started, we are looking at the systems that surround folks with reproductive systems, and then going deep into Black maternal health, because we know that we are dying and almost dying at higher rates than our white counterparts. And the only answer is racism, right? Institutional racism. And so we started the first and only Black statewide maternal health coalition, where we have institutional partners like Charles Drew is there. Jacinta will be joining us. We have City Match, March of Dimes, our major medical institutions, our perinatal collaborative, like folks that are actively working on this and are accountable to our healthcare and our experiences there, to have a shared agenda and approach of what we need to change. 80% of our leadership on that committee is our Black women and birthing folks, which is important because we are traditionally not at the helm of the solutions or the movement, but do all the work and are most impacted. And so that is important for us to uplift Black women and birthing folks. We have made, oh, hey, honey. Look at that handsome baby. Look. We have made strides in some of the things that we are doing, and you can see that on our website. We have helped to update and refine the recruitment process for the folks that are looking at the near-death experiences and deaths across our state at Health and Human Services. So making sure that we are represented on that committee, how that data has come out. The Nebraska maternal mortality report, which are the deaths in our state, that has just been released. And so please take a look at that. It's linked on our website. One of the highlights that I want to name is that from 97% of the cases that were reviewed, race was missing. Like we're not getting the race data, so we can disaggregate by race and gender at those intersections, which is important. It's necessary. And so we are advocating for things like that. We have some policy and advocacy work that we will be bringing in the next legislative session that starts in January. We are supporting the exploration of birth workers in general. So lactation consultants, doulas, midwives, nurses, Black doctors, like we need to be in those spaces, and we need to see ourselves and be able to say, this is the kind of experience I want, and here are the practitioners and professionals and folks around me to help me have that experience. And so this is a long-term commitment for us. We know that this is important and necessary because, again, we should believe Black women and we deserve to thrive when we choose to have children with that that experience is like, and then after, as we choose to parent. And so we appreciate you all for being here with us. Again, panelists, y'all are so brilliant. I can't wait. I'm going to send y'all, like I promise I'm going to text y'all tonight, like, all right, what we doing next? Because we need another panel to really unpack this some more, because y'all dropped some dimes and y'all are super brilliant and brave. And thank you for always investing in our community to support us. Again, thank you, Charles Drew and Nasi, for your dedication to this work as well. And we're going to get it. Like, we're going to dig in. We are going to hold these institutions accountable. And when they don't, we're going to create our own, right? Because this is now. Like, there's no time but now. And so please keep engaging with us in this conversation and this work. I see some folks on the chat that are not Black women or of color. This is equally as important to you, because when you center us and our experiences, everyone will benefit. Your birthing experience will be better. And so find your place in this movement, find your place in this work so we can get it done. So with that, I'm gonna let y'all get back to y'all night. I'm sure my son done tore up something because it's super quiet in the house. I can't hear nothing, y'all. So if y'all see me post something on Facebook, just know during this important conversation, he was back there tearing some stuff up.
Girl, Titan done gone down the hallway. I don't know where to find him, but I got to go. I love it. And thank you so much for hosting this event. This is such great, important work. And I look forward to continuing this movement with you.
Yes, thank you so much, Ashley. As someone said in the chat, thank you for creating this space and for having us on tonight.
Absolutely. We're going to keep getting at it. So thank y'all again and enjoy y'all night.